All right. Welcome back to the Outdoor Drive Podcast. This is your boy, East Coast Trev. And
This is Steve.
what's up, Steve? I,
Same old man.
I won't give you shit this week. I guess we'll just leave it alone. It's probably better that way.
You know what's funny? I was actually contemplating going. This is the I can't even remember. I can't.
Miraculous, Steve.
Yeah, the whatever, but I can't even pull that off when I mean to. So I'm not even gonna try.
All right. Nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
So how you been, buddy? How's everything?
Doing all right, man. Work is definitely piled up in shit as well as the snow. So balancing.
You guys
the
got
two.
hammered with it too?
Oh, dude, it's not been a big snow by my standards, but for where I'm at, apparently 8 inches is a big storm. So
Do they even have snowplows there?
a lot of the locals do, but as far as local government, it's kind of shifty.
Yeah.
Virginia goes, oh, snow, just close everything. We won't go anywhere. It's the weirdest shit I ever saw. Like
That's nuts.
the snow we have right now growing up wouldn't even account for a snow day at school. But this state shuts down. I don't get it.
I could only imagine. They're not used to that stuff.
You know, it's like I've got probably one of the most incredible neighbors ever. He'll come out and he plows everyone's driveway with his little Kubota tractor, and he comes in and hits ours. And every time he does it, I'm scratching my head going, it's 4 to 8 inches of snow, dude. Does it need
trucks?
plowed? Yeah, it's a dirt road, and I have vehicles that can go right through it. Do you really need to plow it? I mean, I
They're not used
appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it, but it makes me, I don't understand this mentality around here. It's strange to me.
It's totally weird. I mean, we have what 15 inches of snow up here. We got hit, and we're supposed to get hit with another nor'easter at the end of the week. So
Nice.
yeah, well, that's normal here. I don't.
Yeah.
It just sucks. I mean, it's going to ruin our shed season. Our ice fishing season's kind of put on halt for a little bit. It puts a lot of pressure on the ice, brings water up, gets a little sketchy. So kind of got to leave it alone. But,
Crazy. Upside is hopefully I can get out and finally do some snow scouting, which I haven't done in 3 years here. So
I'm ready for that too, actually, believe it or not.
fingers are crossed that this sticks around, doesn't melt off immediately tomorrow. And after work, I can get out and go check some of these spots that are new and get some more intel.
Hell yeah, man. Maybe find a shed or two. It'll be kind of cool.
Hopefully, it'd be sweet. It's about that time that they're going to start falling. This is usually about when I start getting it. So,
fuck yeah, man. Well, I do want to thank everyone who joined in with us this week to kind of listen and kind of, I know we're kind of going at a fast pace. We got a lot of cool podcasts. I couldn't think for a second there, which I normally can't, but not that comes by any surprise to anybody.
Has done more than water things down.
Well, no, the problem is that I've done nothing all day, and I've just sat around because there's nothing to do. So I'm just bored out of my mind, and I slept, and I'm just
I
know how that goes.
feeling way too well, man.
It sucks, dude. I hate it. It's it's so weird because I want to be doing stuff. I'm never not going out and doing things. Like all the seasons have come to an end. There's not really much going on. And it's so tough on me. I don't know what I should be doing. So screw it. It is what it is. Hopefully the next couple of days we get back at it. I did a decent amount of ice fishing over the weekend. Things were actually really good. It was colder than a motherfucker here though.
Yeah, it was like it, dude. It looked brutal up there.
-15.
Ooh.
Negative. Yeah, it was bad. And we ice fished throughout the night. One of the nights crappie fishing, and it was just stupid cold. We were inside the shanty and stuff. I mean, it was like 85 in there, but and then the next day we fished all day. It was still, I think it was like a high of like 15 with wind chills like -10. So, but it is what it is. I wish I was out shed hunting, to be honest. If I knew that we were going to get as much snow, because they were calling for like 1 to 3 inches and then 1 to 3 inches the night before. So they're calling for like 6 inches of snow. I'm down with that. I can shed hunt in that.
So you got like the backwards version of what we got.
Really?
They were calling for like 12 to 18 and we got 8.
Yeah. So like that morning they shifted to 12 to 18 inches. And we're like, what? I was not expecting that. And then we're going to get hit again. It looks like the next couple of days, the end of the week. which would actually be last week. We were supposed to get hit with another nor'easter, so we'll see what happens. It is what it is, I guess.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts, man. But for you guys that have tuned in, and we do have a lot of new things coming up. We've kind of pushed forward with hat sales, so we'll actually have hats for sale here on the regular, the Outdoor Drive podcast ones. We just finished up our last run, or our first, the end of the first run. And then we'll have another run coming very soon. Stickers should be here if they're not already in the next couple of days. So we'll have that. And then we're actually working on right now possible t-shirts with like an online program
Some
to do
online
t-shirts.
storage.
So we'll see how that goes. But we'll have some merchandise. It's kind of getting to that point. We're 1 year in the making here. So we figured that we should have merchandise by now. So that's what we're working on, because I know everyone's been on our ass about it. So we'll definitely get it out there.
And for public clarification, the stickers will be white writing, not black.
Yeah.
We've got so much grief over that.
But that's why I gave them away. I didn't even sell them. I was like, who wants them? I'm just going to send them to them, because I can't sell you a black. If you have tinted windows, the black did nothing. So,
okay. Yes and no. If you had something white to put it on, it looked badass. Now, the bigger stickers like you and I have, even on tinted glass, when that sun hits them, it gives that metallic gray sheen. I kind of dig it. I kind of like it. But
it's like a blacked out version. I love it.
You know, and I just like blacked out personally. That's all my shit. I like subdued, no shine, no chrome. But that's just me. But yeah, we got our asses handed to us over not having white lettered stickers. So
it worked fine on my little Honda Civic. I don't have tinted windows, so it looks great on my car, but fuck everyone else, I guess.
Well, they ask and they receive.
So we'll have white ones. So that would be kind of cool. We'll have those for sale. I don't know, like we might have to like get like an actual store going on the website, I think, to kind of handle all this, because I'm not really sure how else we'll go about this, but we'll keep everyone informed of what's actually going on.
No one said we're smart. We're just kind of limping along and making it happen off the hip.
They wanted the shit. I got it, but I just don't know how to get it to you.
Nah, we'll figure that out. That part's easy. You've always been good at that, guys. And everybody, big praises to Trev, because he handles all of this end of it. I mean, he's the man when it comes to this stuff. I simply don't have enough hours in the day. So Trev saves my ass when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, but you do enough on your end, dude, because if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be a podcast, because there would be no video-ish. There would be no videos. There would be no nothing. It would be just a podcast. We just have a podcast.
That's why we work well together.
It works.
You got your strengths, and dude, the amount of content you've been pumping, dude, hats off to you. You've been fucking getting it.
Trying, man.
So right now, like out of the blue, taking this extra job on top of my original job, dude, I am slammed. So watching you get out there and do it, it's like usually I'm like, yeah, man, get it. Now I'm like, oh, damn it, I wish I was out there.
That's all right. Turkey season will be here before you know it, dude. I mean, come on.
Shed season's kicking off time this airs, so I fully anticipate to work. And now there's some new places at this new place I'm working at that I'm going to do a little walking on. I've had some local intel that there's some really big bucks around there. So
it's awesome. Nothing better than that.
Love new ground.
Sweet, man. Hey, do we have something coming in? Should we turn up Mike?
Yeah, man. Do me a favor. Crank that bad boy up.
All right. Turn it up.
Hey everyone, Mike here with some news for your cruise. The theme lately has been bills, bills, bills all across the country. We're going to start off a little bit the same this week, this time in Utah with House Bill 295, which has been introduced and would ban big game baiting and regulate trail camera use in the state. The bill would ban placing food or nutrient substances for the purpose of taking or attempting to take big game. The game camera regulations would include prohibiting trail camera use from August 1st through December 31st, and prohibiting cell camera use from July 1st through December 31st, or cameras at any time if placement, maintenance, or use of a trail camera or similar device prevents wildlife from accessing or alters the manner in which wildlife accesses a spring water source or artificial basin that collects water or is designed and constructed to collect water. Now, there are some exceptions to these, which would include if a person clearly marks each trail camera or similar device to indicate ownership, any person who places, maintains, or uses a camera or similar device with the Wildlife Division's approval, or a person who places, maintains, or uses a trail camera or similar device on private property with the landowner's permission. So anyone who would like to comment on the bill can email the bill sponsor, Casey Snyder, at csnider, SNIDER, at le.utah.gov, and any members of Utah's Wildlife Board. Now on to Pennsylvania, where the Pennsylvania Game Commission is asking for your help. Wildlife biologists are looking for flocks of wild turkeys to trap, band, and release this year. So if you see any flocks of turkeys in northwestern PA, you can call the Northwest Region office at 814-432-3187. Now down to Virginia, and I'll have to thank Steven's better half for sending this one to me. So thank you, Kim. Pay attention, muskie anglers. Recently, DNR biologists were sampling the Shenandoah River for muskies, which they have been doing since 2009. This year, the biologists caught 2 of their largest muskies of their careers. They caught 2 fish over 50 inches, with the largest weighing 40 pounds. So there are some monsters to be had in the Shenandoah, and the DNR biologists are asking anglers to consider recording their catches in the new Muskie Angler Diary program, which will provide the biologists with data to better manage the muskie fishery in the Shenandoah and other areas of the state. So the program can be found on the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources webpage. Now, lastly, this is a call to all youth who enjoy the outdoors. Pheasants Forever is looking for stories from youth who hunt, fish, shoot, or just enjoy the outdoors in general to be included in their Forever Outdoors Youth Journal. They are looking for anyone under 18 to submit a 300 to 800 word story with high-resolution photos. A few topic examples that they provided are stories about, like a favorite bird dog or a specific outdoor place that is special to you, your first harvest, deer, pheasant, or other game, family adventure or tradition in the outdoors, showing someone else the outdoors, or participating in outdoor activities outside of hunting and fishing. You can send submissions to Pheasants Forever editor Tom Carpenter at tcarpenter@pheasantsforever.org. You can attach a Word file or put the story right in the body of the email, and make sure to use Forever Outdoors Story in the email subject line. With that, I appreciate all the news coming in. Again, if you guys have anything, please feel free to send it to me. Reach out to me on Facebook at Mike Salter or bearded_bowhunter21 on Instagram. And with that, enjoy the rest of your ride.
All right. Crazy Mike, always back at it. Always keeping the news.
Yeah, much appreciated. Dude, and you guys don't understand how much effort goes into that, how much research and time he puts into that. I want to tell him thanks, because he doesn't just come out with like the general big stuff. Dude, he's finding like little niche things and local things. So please, everybody, if something comes up, I don't care what state if you're in Nebraska, if you're in Florida, Arizona, California, something pops up that you think's of interest, kick it over to Mike. Let him pump that out.
Yeah, definitely. If there's any info that you want to share, anything new coming down the pipe, I know there's a lot of bills being passed in different states and stuff. Just get it over to either me, Steven, or just send it right to Mike Salter. Or you can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. Just follow the trail. You'll find him. I promise. Send that stuff over so we can get that stuff kicking.
For sure.
I I'm done talking. Can we
Yeah.
just do sponsors and get on with the show? Because I'm actually pretty jacked about this one.
Yeah, dude, roll into it because I'm excited.
All right, let's do it. So first off, I want to thank Northeastern Game Calls. Northeastern Game Calls, get them in close for all your custom game call needs. Go check out Mock. We have the Ridge Runners going to be here in the full effect. If you guys haven't seen that yet, make sure you go and check that out. You can check that on their YouTube side behind the product. Also, Wild Edge Inc., wildedgeinc.com, the leader in mobile hunting. They now have the Berserker and the Battlement out for sale. You can go and check them out there, wildedgeinc.com. Timber Tumblers, timbertumblers.com for your custom tumbler needs. You can use our logo, your logo, anybody's that you like, and get some custom tumblers. I was a little tongue-tied there.
You were on a roll, and then it just died.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think because I don't have my tumbler today. I have a tumbler, but I don't have my tumbler, so I was a little off. Wicked Twisted Bowstrings, wickedtwistedbowstrings.com for your custom bowstrings. Get Jillified up there at Wicked Twisted Bowstrings. The BCY and the Bloodline series that she offers. You can build them right there on her website. Also, Broadside Camo, broadsidecamo.com, the photorealism for your aerial hunting needs in camouflage. Use the promo code Outdoor Drive on that one. Wicked Twisted's Outdoor Drive 10. I think that's the only ones that we've gone through so far.
Mhm.
Also, who else am I forgetting? I'm always forgetting somebody. Who am I forgetting? Wicked Twisted, Norris Game Calls, Wild Edge Inc., Timber Tumblers. What? Out on the Limb. Out on the Limb, MFG.com. Matt Garris over at Out on the Limb. He's got some really cool stuff that for you one-steppers, saddle hunters, Shikar sticks, Shikar FXs. There's the Reach camera arm. What was the name of the new one?
That honestly, I got to revert back. So if you guys get on YouTube, we are launching the next episode of Behind the Product, in which this is all covered from Matt's perspective. It is not in the shop, but as he talks, you will see the products. So get on there and check that out.
And, you know, something we don't talk about a lot when it comes to Out on the Limb is the Little Ambush, which is an actual tree stand. And that's something that he sells. He does sell tree stands. He sells platforms for saddle hunting, camera arms, just a little bit of everything. So if you guys haven't been over there and haven't checked that stuff out yet, get on over to Out on the Limb, MFG.com. He's got some really badass shit for all of you hunters. So.
Hell yeah.
Cool people, good people. Go and check them out.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think I'm ready to start talking about these.
Yeah, man. Actually, I'll show you the one I got last week.
Yeah, let's see that bad boy. Oh, snap.
That was pretty cool. It was kind of fun. I went into an area. I'm dropping my mic here. I went to an area to look for a specific shed, and I was walking back out, and this one was tines down in the snow, and I could see it from a mile away. It was after we had first gotten our first snow, and I was like, that's a shed. That's a shed. And the closer I got, the more it looked like a shed. So I was pissed.
Beautiful season.
I didn't have the dog with me. I was so upset that I didn't have the dog, but
that's all right, dude. Number one, there's nothing like that feeling.
I know
that instant surge of energy. Like, there it is.
But the problem with that is that then it snowed. So all of the sheds are covered in snow right now. But it is what it is. Let's go talk sheds.
Keeps the squirrel off them.
Oh, that's right. Let's go talk sheds.
Let's do it. Bring them on.
Nice shot. Here comes a shooter. Shooter. Big buck. Stacked.
All right, we're back on the phone with the shed hunting fool himself, Mr. Wayne. How are you, buddy?
What's up, guys? Doing all right?
How's everything, man?
Cold, wintry, snowy.
Did you guys get hit with this snowstorm recently also?
Oh, yeah. I think we got another 2 inches last night, probably 5 inches over the last week.
Ugh, not good, man. We just got hit with it. We got, I don't know, 15 to 20 inches on the ground. Yeah.
There goes your shed season.
I know, man. They called for like 3 inches and we had like about an inch on the ground. So I was like, all right, perfect. This is going to be good. And then I woke up and there's 15 inches of snow on the ground. So that just about killed that.
Thank the weatherman for that one, right?
Yeah, exactly. So why don't we turn this key, man? We'll get this drive underway. Why don't you tell everyone who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
My name is Wayne Bolton. I am the shed hunting fool. Of course, that's what I call myself. Then over the years, everybody else has called me that. And they think I have an addiction. But living here in the state of Ohio, you can't help it. You picking up bones like I do, you're going to be a shed hunting fool.
So what got you into shed hunting, man? Where did it all start for you?
Where did it all start? Let me see. Back up 25 years ago, neighbor losing to the kite. I go out. Well, this actually wasn't even 25 years ago. This was, geez, way back when. Before then, I don't know. I think I was 11. And neighbor loses a kite. It flies across the road. I offer to go out and help. I see this white thing laying out in the field. You know what it is? An old white bone. So I told my brother, I said, go over and see what that is. He comes back. He's hollering, it's a shed antler. Don't touch it. So I run up to him, and sure enough, man, I was like, man. Then I started getting into it and looking it up, and you know how deer shed every year, and I was interested, and that just led to passion in my world. Just a thrill seeker, trying to find the sheds every year. Just turned into a passion, and just dedicated to every year, just shed hunting. It's crazy.
That's like your thing, man, is just finding sheds, huh? You kill them too, it looks like, but
I try not to let all the big ones go so I can find the sheds, and I don't shoot the monsters,
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
So people ask me if I've killed some big ones or I find their sheds, and I just tell them all that I let the big ones walk so I can find their sheds the year after.
You'd rather find their sheds than kill them, huh?
Here I shot in 07. He was a nice one. He went from a 6x5 to a typical 6x6, 179 and 5/8. I mean, look at that picket fence. He's a pretty deer.
It don't get better than that.
This is him right here next to me. So that led into another one, hunting, specific deer over the years. And I thought, well, if I can pick up their sheds and I can hunt the deer, let's put two and two together. So I wanted to find their sheds and then see if that puzzle led me to harvesting the deer. And to date, I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 deer that I've killed. I found matching, sheds off of. So
nice. Well, here's the difference from where you are to where we are. This is our big deer.
Still a good deer though.
So our picket fences are like midget fences compared to where you're at.
I seen one laying in the field the other day about that size, and I kept driving.
That hurts right here, man. That hurts.
A man like you don't leave no sheds and no fields. How many sheds do you think that you've picked up over the years?
Oh my gosh, I've been asked that question. Thousands, I mean, probably over 10,000. Back in the day when I started actually really shed hunting was around 96. So you're talking 25 years. I used to be able to find 150 plus sheds a year, in 2 months time, no problem. And today's industry, everybody's learned about it, and probably due to my part too, and doing seminars and, and then other people getting into the hobby. And then you add the value of antlers comes into play, and people have no jobs, going out there looking. Next thing you know, they're walking everywhere, and I go to some of my private places and see boot prints this time of the year. You know what's going on. It's like,
oh yeah.
So, but I, back then when I was young, I used to keep count, but I couldn't really give you an exact number, Tons. I got boxes full, just sheds. I've sold some. I finally, years ago, I started going to Kansas and got introduced to Mike. I can't really pronounce Mike's last name. Charus. Sorry, I can't remember. Sorry, Mike, if you're watching. But anyway, so I started selling some little stuff about what you had.
Keep rubbing it in.
Just for poundage. And I thought, well, I'll start making some money off of it. And I've sold a couple 100 pounds here and there. But big stuff, I've only sold one big set. And that was a deer I was after 3 years ago. And he finally got shot by somebody else, a first-time hunter. Imagine that. And this deer was a giant, over 200 inches. I had a set from him from the year before. Somebody made me an offer. I was like, get him out of my face because I don't want to see him again. But number-wise, I'd say over 10,000.
Wow, that's crazy. I couldn't even imagine, man. So a shed season for us, if I set a goal of finding 25, and that's a killer season for me. That's a lot. And I put a lot of miles on. It's big country here too, though. It's the mountains, you know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit tougher. And the population's not all that much, but to get on average 150 a season, I couldn't even imagine, dude. My house would be full of them, just like yours. They'd be everywhere,
I think my best season was 52, and I'm like, that's it. That's the epic season.
That's a good season. I've had my down years. I think the least I found one year was 36. Wow. We had a lot of snow, but I found it to 16 in a 1/2 acre field,
Wow.
Just in one outing. But my goal is every day when I go out is to find one shed. That's my goal. Just every time I go out, if I can find one, I'm satisfied.
That's crazy, man. So you keep pretty much all your sheds now, other than, just selling off a little bit here and there. Everything, you're a collector.
Everything I own, I've found. I don't buy any. Everything I own, I've found. So yeah, I like collecting the sheds. It's an addiction.
Man,
kind of like a woman with shoes,
Yeah.
Wear them once and then set them aside to watch.
Have you shed hunted for anything other than whitetails?
Never have. And I want to. I've been to Canada and stuff, and done some bear hunting out west, but I've never really got into it. No.
I'll tell you, I do a lot of moose shed hunting. That's my favorite. What's it?
I'd get broke just traveling different countries. Once I got into mule deer and elk and moose.
Oh, yeah. Well, with elk, you put a lot more miles for a lot less bone, but it's a lot more weight. One of those things is better than picking up a 100-inch antler any day. It's insane.
What was crazy, I went out to Yellowstone years ago, and I went into this little shop, and they had a lot of elk sheds and deer stuff. They had one little set of 4-point whitetail sheds sitting there for $100. I thought,
yep.
And I told that lady, I said, $100 for this set? I said, I got thousands of it at the house. She said, we can't keep them on the shelf.
Yep. They don't exist out there.
Right. She said it's a rarity. I said, so you got $100 for this little 4x4 set, and then you want $35 for that big elk antler. She's like,
Yep.
yeah. It's like, wow.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the same thing as out here. People go insane over a single antler or a elk shed.
Right.
Whereas back home, you know, I had a pile. I've got 6 or 7 of them here in the house that I kept. My best one was 32 pounds. It was 8 inches. It scored a little over 270, just one side. You know, and that's what you go for with elk. So you're like, you don't see whitetail. You see mule deer, but you don't see whitetail. So when I got to the East Coast, I was jacked. I'm like, all right, you know, look at all these horns. And I'm like, wait, everybody has these out here. It's nothing new.
Whitetails are just my epitome. I can't, like, they try to get me to go after elk and mule deer, and I get offered hunts and stuff, but I'm afraid to leave Ohio to leave my whitetails here, because I've done it before, and I hunt Kentucky, I hunt Indiana, Kansas, here in Ohio, Illinois, and I'd be there and get pics of my monsters that I'm after here in Ohio. I'm like, as soon as I freaking leave, then big boys show up. So I kind of stick close to home, and most of the time go after one deer, and a lot of times the EHDs hit last couple of years and put a damper on that, and the shed hunting, of course. And that's another topic, like deadheads. This one here. So here's the one that I picked up last February. So a year from today, or this month. He's 198 and 7/8 net, 200. Just a clean 5x5 with a couple little kickers. There's a shed I found off. So I was after him, and I actually shot him this year with the shed. And look how big that 4 grew. It's like, geez, just a giant. So then he disappeared. So I went looking for him and trying to find his sheds. And of course, I walked upon him dead. And I'm not going to leave a deadhead that big laying around.
No, hell no.
So you call the DNR, tell them where you found it. I give them the whole story, send them the location, then you get a tag here in the state of Ohio for it to be legal. So
when you find a deadhead, you have to call DNR to get a tag for it.
I couldn't. Hundreds and hundreds of deadheads I found over the years. And my old game warden, he just got tired of me calling him every other day. Give me a tag, give me a tag, give me a tag. Where you at? He's like, just keep them. I'll get with you at the end of the season. So I just started donating them all to Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, and geez, the amount of calls and text messages I get, people wanting to buy them. And it's illegal in the state of Ohio to sell, a skull or a deadhead. But it used to be, I think. It doesn't matter to me. But one that big, especially if I've been after him, he's going to stay in my collection.
Especially a deer of that caliber. I mean, that's an absolute giant. That's you don't walk by that one. That doesn't stay where you find it. That's crazy. So why don't we get into some of the techniques and kind of like what you do and how you go about trying to find sheds? Obviously, there's a little bit of an art to it. You just don't go in the woods marching around. So where do you start? Like, what would be some of the tips that you would ask, or that somebody would? You get the question.
I've done plenty of them over the years. Yeah. So basically, early season. I'll call this early season. I typically don't start till Valentine's Day here in the state of Ohio, Southwest Ohio. February 14th. I take my girlfriend, which I don't know where she's at. Oh, I don't have one. But that's when I start. There's some dropping right now, but unless I know my cameras tell me otherwise, I'm not going in anywhere unless I know for a fact my bucks have dropped. One, if you spook them out of there, you're not going to find them. Two, they're there for a reason. So, and they're this time of the year, snow on the ground, late season, all the deer are yarded up. Bucks, does, they're all yarded up. So if you got one buck, you're going to have 3, 4, you could have 6, you could have 10, it doesn't matter. And I got one big deer in that herd, and I want to find his sheds, but the other ones are dropped. I'm not going to go in there and bust them all out and run him off. I learned that years ago. I was after a giant, like that caliber. He was in 180s, 190s, and I thought, well, it's time. I haven't seen him in a while. It's time. So I go in there, jumped him up. Didn't find a shed. Jumped him up. He runs off. Rack's going with him. 8 days later, a guy about 2 miles down the road found his shed. So that right there taught me a lesson. Unless you know exactly when to go in there, don't go in there too early because you're going to bump him out. And where he feels safe at, he's going to run off somewhere else and you're not going to find him. He ain't coming back. He's there for a reason. So early season, say February 14th, all I do is scout food sources. I do not go in the bedding areas. Whether it be, I'll go into hay fields, cut soybean fields, corn fields. We have a lot of crops here in Ohio. Do the outer perimeters, make it next to the field. If I find 1 or found 10, I don't want to go inside that comfort zone where they're in their bed. I gotta hold myself back. I'll do that for a couple of weeks till 1st of March. And then I'll start going inside, getting in the rabbit country, the bedding area. It's still, some deer around here, they'll carry till March, April. End of March, 1st of April. I've had them carry all the way into turkey season. Like I got a big deer this year. He's an 8-year-old buck. He didn't shed his velvet till late October. And usually it's 2nd, 3rd week of September. And we nicknamed him Fuzzy. And I found his sheds 4 years ago. But he don't shed till late. It might be April, end of April before he sheds. Because he didn't shed his velvet till late October. So early season, I concentrate on just the food sources. Then once they get into March, then I'll start hitting the trails, going in the bedding areas. But don't put too much pressure on it. Oh, excuse me. I'll take and say you got a square field. Again, I'll go to that one farm on a Monday. Whether I find 1 or 10 sheds, I won't go back there until the following Monday. Because if I'm hounding that place every other day, wanting to find other antlers, I'm going to end up bumping all those deer out. And they're going to catch on, and just like, being sit free and everything during the hunting season. So I just try to be careful. One spot, I might hit 3 spots in a Monday, whether it be 10 acres, 5 acres, or 300 acres. Just how I do it.
And you just make sure not to go into that bedding ground until March 1st.
Time, yep. Unless I know on camera. Last year, I had this one. He shed New Year's Day, and he's a 5-year-old buck. And I was after him this year at 6. Only seen him one time, but he shed New Year's Day. I went in there January 2nd and picked him up.
And you knew that they were on the ground.
Oh yeah, because he was there the night before, and then come in the next night. I know the scars, and I know my deer.
Yes.
Sheds are gone. I went over the hill 200 yards and found them laying in a green field, side by side.
So do you run cameras throughout shed season just to see exactly what's going on, or
Year, they don't get taken out.
just to know what's going on?
They
Gotcha.
stay out there. Minerals, whether some places I feed corn, Some places I don't. Some places I have camera. Some places the farmers don't want me in there putting cameras up. But I've got a ton of cameras out, and that's been a tool for the last, when they had the big stealth cams about that big, D-cell batteries, you had to put in them twice a week because they was going dead.
Yep.
To now we got cameras, this size that use batteries up. They last for 6-7 months. I've had some good ones last a year. But yeah, cameras are a good tool for me. They got cell cams now. You can watch on your phone. God almighty, all that stuff. So I use that stuff to my advantage.
So now, you always hear about like southeast slope. You hear about, the wind and the sun to your back, so on and so forth. What are some of those tips kind of for somebody to kind of follow along with?
Especially in like the big timber. If I got, say we got most around the country, you got deer bed up high, feed down low, kind of typical. So like you said, them ridges where the sun comes up and hits first, especially this time of year when it's shed season, and then we got snow on the ground, it's cold, all the greenery's gone. They're still picking on the acorns, leaves, whether it be honeysuckle, might be still around, and then for warmth, the ridges where the snow's melted, the sun's hit. I mean, you might see rolling hill and driving down the road, and this one be full of snow, and the one right next to it facing, towards the east, southeast, all the snow's gone. I'll pass up every other ridge and hit the one with no snow on it. That's where you're going to find the sheds.
And that's where them deer are going to be hanging out.
I won't even bother in big ridges. I hunt one place. That's all it is hardwoods like that. If you can find that spot, it's like money every time.
Nice. So I know out here where I'm at, I'll spend a lot of time. I'll literally cruise the field edges,
right?
Look into the fields as far as, looking at food sources. And then the other thing that I've told a lot of people is, you got the field edge and then about 15 yards in. I know I find a lot of luck down here using that method and then working up to bed. Does that still apply out where you are?
Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing. Like I say, I'll progress into that bed area. I'll walk it. Like if I walk that field this Monday, next Monday, I'll do the same thing. I don't pass it up. I'll walk that field again, do a next cross it, step 15 yards in, do a circle around it. I just start. And by the time the season's over, my 2-3 months shed hunting, I'll walk every inch of that property. But I do the same thing over and over because they're coming to that food source. I know that. And then just start branching out and I'll walk circles. And that's a good tip too. If I find one and I don't know exactly where the other one is, and it's late season, say mid-October, mid-March, I'll start from that antler. If I can't find it, then I'll just start working circles. 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards. That's when, crossing property boundaries and stuff. And then I'll just get my binoculars out. Well, it ain't over there. So just keep working away till I find it. Sometimes I found some giants, and on the other side, you think, I get this big 4. It weighs, 4 pounds, almost 5 pounds. Huge 4. It scores 80 inches, almost 81. I didn't find the other side till, it took me like 3 weeks, and it was over 400 yards apart. That one was laying in the bedding area, and the other one was laying in the hayfield. But I just kept doing that and zigzagging. It's crazy. And this one here, let's see. This one. Yeah, this one. It took me a year to find this one. No chew marks.
Damn.
It was laying, I hit it with my shin, walking through some uncut winter wheat. And about knee high, I hit it with my shin. And That's just like, what the heck was that? I knew something was supposed to be there. Reached down. I thought it was a deadhead at first, and it just come up. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, it's a big 5.
Jeez, that's nuts.
And that's off the same deer too.
Wow.
Wow. If you guys aren't on the YouTube side watching this, you guys are out of your minds. You're missing out on some serious, serious stuff.
Yeah, that looks a lot like your bow and bridle trip.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They have those things. What is you said it was Iowa?
Right. I just picked this one up this past late spring. It'd been laying there for over a year. Looks like somebody asked me if it'd been in a fire. Like, it looks like it, but just the sun was hitting it. And it goes 80 something. I don't know. I really don't score them that much. People ask me all the time, but they score. I don't know. When I'm at shows, when I'm at shows, some of the scores, like, can I score that antler real quick? I'm like, sure, go ahead. Because I throw most of my big ones in this box. There's 65 sets in that box. And it's 4 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot deep. And they're all match sets, giants, 160s to 200 class deer. Big ones.
Wow. That's nuts, man. That's a crazy addiction. I just finding the white gold. It's like, it's the redneck Easter egg hunt. You just never can get too much of it.
You know what? If I find one like this one right here, just a little 4-point, it scores total 21, 22 inches. Okay. That gives me just as much of a adrenaline rush as finding one like that right there. The honest to God's truth. I mean, it's, and I've probably got 50 spikes, and I always wondered what the smallest 4-point typical in the world was. And
I think you may be holding it.
pretty cool.
That thing is badass.
It's a self-standard too. Stand up on the field. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, if I find one antler a day, I'm good.
It doesn't matter if it's big, little. It doesn't matter as long as you're finding bone.
Of course, I mean, everybody could spot the giants. I mean, find them little ones, and yeah, as long as it's a bone, it doesn't matter.
That's so
now if they're all
cool.
chewed up, and people say, the saying, "Don't leave no bone behind." If they're all chewed up, I'll leave them. Ain't no sense in taking them back.
Right.
Do the squirrels really mess you up down there, big time?
I find them with blood on the base and chewed up, half gone. Still, and they just drop. I'm like, what the heck?
You had one on one of your pictures. It was just like, it was this tiny little, it looked like an antler, but it was completely gone. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It was just.
I've got tons of them. I've had them like that. Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't even know how you found that. Never mind.
You got to have an eye for them. I drove down the road going 50 mile an hour and spot one, 100 yards out in a cornfield. I said, stop, all over. I said, run out there and get that 5-point shed. They're like, what? So there's an antler out there. Go out there and get it. So, and this is my cousin years ago, probably 15 years ago, runs out there and I'm showing him where it's at. And like, boom, he comes running back, got mud everywhere. He's like, first of all, how in the hell did you see it? And secondly, how in the hell did you know it had 5 points? I said, I don't know. Got lucky.
That eye.
He said, you put that out there yesterday, didn't you? I said, no. I swear.
See, and that's definitely one thing is when it comes to finding horns, you either have an eye for it or you don't. If you do, it's a lot easier. If you don't, you got to get real focused on the grid search, the circular patterns, things like that.
Early season, I'll take an antler with me, because I mean, even though I look at antlers every day of my life, they're all over my living room, my house, bedroom, kitchen, bathroom. You can't go in a room without seeing an antler. I'll take this, shed with me, early season, I'll toss it, train my eyes, throw it behind me. Believe it or not, a couple years ago, I did it in the cornfield and I never found the antler. I don't know what the heck happened to it. I just pitched it over my head and it must have buried it. So, but I spent like a half hour trying to find it. And finally I said, screw it. It's just a training antler. I'll find another one. But I couldn't find a daggone thing and I took it with me. Cornfields though, that's a tough one around here. Unless it's an absolute giant, I'll wait till that's my last option, because cornfields, every corn stalk stubble looks like an antler.
Yep.
And what I do is I'll take my binoculars and I'll go down every row, boom, boom, side to side, walking it each row. And then I'll do the same thing as I do early season bean fields, hay fields. I'll walk the edge, do an X. Then I start doing glassing every row. I don't walk down every row, but then I'll go, if it's a long field, go to half of it, glass, half at a time.
So glassing is very important in the shed hunting world.
Especially, when it's flat. Yeah. We got in Kansas, I'm going 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We got there in glassing, real flat out there. Guy next to you, I see one. Where? There's one. I see one over here. If you don't have eyes, you're calling dibs on sheds and out in fields or out in the middle of nowhere.
That's crazy. And do you glass a lot when you're in the woods too, or no? Just more or less just hiking, putting boots on the ground.
Don't use the dog. I have no people use it all the time. I don't have any patience for a dog, so I hate my neighbor's dog. It's barking right now. It's nil. But I've seen where people use antler traps. In some cases, or I put out like my minerals and corn late season, I'll use like a brush where the buck could come in and he might hit his antlers on the tree or this, but I don't use the picket fence and wires and all these antler trap gadgets that you see. Does me no good. I mean, I see people, they might place them there to try to sell them, but if a buck's not ready to shed, he's not going to shed. I know guys that have deer farms around here, and they go out there with a 2x4 and smack that deer upside the head, and his antlers still won't pop off. And then the next day they'll just fall off on their own. Just timing. It's moon phase and all kinds of stuff goes into an injured buck, all kinds of things.
Yeah,
I'm not a biologist, but
and all of that.
I've just heard. I've heard a lot of stuff, and I've seen deer breed deer, late season, January, like, and in some parts of the state, Texas, and it's all on right now. Rut and everything, and just depends on what state you're in, what kind of environment, and how the weather's been, all the kinds of factors.
Absolutely. No, you kind of answered. So there was a couple of questions on the Outdoor Drive page there that a couple guys had asked, and one of them was, have you ever been successful using any of the gadgets, feeder, above a feeder, so on and so forth? And then the other one was, when you look at property for the first time, what do you focus on? Travel corridors. We kind of went over that. And then there was, you've pretty much gone over all of them. I don't need to read through them. So that was kind of, they had asked questions, somebody want to kind of know them, but we kind of, I think we hit on them.
I ask all the time, where do you find them? In the woods. I just be a smart ass sometimes, right. But I mean, anywhere whitetail will go, I found them. I found them on the side of roads. I found them hanging up, I got one here. This one here. I've been shed hunting this property for like 13 years. And it's an old deer. I found it in 2010. Same thicket. I pick sheds up all the time in there. Thought one day I just want to sit down and take a break. I picked up 3 or 4, and I looked about 50 yards in front of me, and I just seen one little tine hanging down. I thought, is that an antler? Sure enough, it was hanging about 4 feet above the ground in a cedar tree, and it had been there for at least 3 or 4 years because it was all dry rotted. And, pretty cool deer. But they're not on the ground. They can be hanging in trees or you
Find them
name
on
it.
rocks.
Right, in creeks and ditches, I mean, everywhere. Power lines, good funnels, road crossings. I mean, you name it. Your front yard. I mean, flower bed. We pull into the farm in Kansas where we shed hunt every year, and as soon as we pull in the driveway, my buddy Matty's like, "There's one laying right there," and sure enough, right on the step, next to the driveway, 10 feet on the other side of the fence. Yeah, I'm like, "You lucky bastard! We ain't even started yet."
Nice.
I love when that happens. We do a lot, like, so we got a lot of urban areas here. I'll literally drive around the neighborhoods looking at people's lawn because I mean that's their food source, right? So they're gonna go to these lawns. You look underneath people's bushes, you find them. I mean, everywhere, man. You know what a real good place is that I love? It's one of my favorite things around churches. For some reason, the fields around churches, I don't know why, but I find a ton of sheds there. I don't know why. And some of the urban areas.
Better, and there's not much hunting pressure,
I was going to say, that's why in Virginia, it's the only place you can't hunt.
Yeah.
That's why you go to church, right?
There you go.
Go to church and shed hunt.
Yep.
That's it, man. I know the whitetail shed hunting's a little bit different than moose shed hunting. I mean, it's more or less just putting on 1,000,001 miles, man, and just trying to find them. And you just get in these feed areas and just go down these rows, and before you know it, you're in the middle of nowhere, and it's crazy. That's a whole different world, man.
Well, it's the same way with elk. The best luck we ever had, you got to go to the top of the mountain and you got to find those nice bowls and
nobody else goes.
Yep. And the best day I ever had out west, we found 17 horns, pieces of horns, whatever you want, a mixture of mule deer and elk, all in one bowl on top of a mountain that was a 6-mile hike up, and you were at 13,000 feet.
Right. That's awesome.
And then you got to pack the shit out.
Yep. And that's a good point. Sometimes I get people asking me all the time, take them shed hunting. I mean, everybody wants to go. Everybody wants to find antlers. And in one instance, it's cost me a relationship because I took a guy one time, and then the next year, he's in there before I am. One of my spots.
Sounds familiar, Trev.
So, lay some ground rules out. I've helped tons of people find sheds, went to their properties, and I just give them to them. If I find them, they're yours. If you want to give me one, that's cool. But find 8 or 10 of them, they're yours. This is your property. Set some ground rules if you guys take friends. Typically, I just go alone, unless family member or something, somebody, good hunting buddy. We'll set ground rules. Like if you find one and then I find a match, whoever finds the first one and the second one gets found, and the guy that found the first one gets the match. If I go to a place where we're both hunting and, I'm after this one particular deer, set the ground rules first. I got history with this deer. I want this deer. If you find the sheds, give them to me. So you don't lose friendship. Big deer have cost a lot of people friendship over the years. So, I keep my shed group small and just make sure all the ground rules are set before you step foot,
Oh, for sure.
I know how that goes. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Right.
It gets kind of crazy now that everyone's kind of getting into shed hunting too. Things get a little bit crazier. Everybody, you go to a lot of these areas, and we do a lot in a lot of areas that are non-huntable areas because that's where you're gonna find the most sheds. And there's be 1,000,001 guys in there, and these guys are arguing and this, that, and the other thing, and it kind of gets a little tough. On another instance, I now have a dog. I have a shed hunting dog. And guys would be like, hey, man, I got this big buck over here. You mind coming and finding the shed antler? Well, I'll tell you this, man. If I'm putting in the time and the effort, I'm keeping the antler because it's one of those things, man. Like, I try and set those ground rules. If it's a big deer, man, and you're after it and you need a hand, that's one thing. But I'm not going to come and scour your land for 2-3 days, even more, to try and find antlers that I'm going to give up. You know what I'm saying? It's different here. It's not like out there where there's 1,000,001 sheds. it's totally different here. When you, like I said, when you're finding 20 sheds in a season and you're putting on hundreds of miles, it definitely is tough.
I know how many miles I've walked over the years and how many I've walked past. So if I had those two together, would I have like more miles than like a world record, or would I have uh, had missed more sheds than I've found? That's what I. That's two things that get me all the time. It's like, because it never fails. I go back every year and I find an old shed, and I know a walk through here last year. How come I didn't see that? So, and you mentioned earlier, like where the sun is and stuff. When I'm walking through there, I'll always change direction or always keep the sun to my back. I love shed hunting on rainy days, cloudy days. They just stick out like a sore thumb. Sunny days, I'll go, but walk. If you think you're walking slow, walk 10 times slower because that antler will just blend in. We got out there in Kansas and I got this little purple flower that pops up in the springtime, and it's popping up probably about right now. And then by the time March gets there, and those antlers blend in, we've walked within foot of them. I just told Matt, a couple times over the years, I was like, "Don't step on that one." He's like, "Shit, I didn't even see that." Yeah, they just blend in so well. It's just amazing. It's crazy.
We all probably walk by so many sheds in the season. I bet you I probably if I was paying attention, I probably would find 100 in the season, but I'd have to walk slower because you that anticipation when you get in the woods, man, and you're trying to find a shed, like you want to get to a certain spot, but that antler could be right there. You know what I'm saying? Like you're trying to get in the bedding ground, so you're like beelining to get in there, nothing's in there, and then you like turn around and there'll be a shed, and you're like, what the fuck, man? I just walked right past that thing,
and that's the other thing, though, is when you're walking an open field or real wide open, hard timber that's got open bottom, no regrowth, and you can see a little bit versus climbing mountainsides, because you're putting time into footing and handholds and getting yourself up and around half the time instead of looking as you're walking, so
that's the thing when you have somebody with you, you got competition. So you're trying to race to the best spots or find that antler, and you pick up the pace more because you're in the competition of where's this one at? You want to beat them to this spot, or I want to get to that thicket or this spot, and then you're overlooking areas that are good. So we might walk in one way and walk straight back out the same way at a different angle, and that's the only thing bad about having somebody else with you. They're anxious, want to find that antler. You want to slow down, but it seems like the pace keeps picking up more and more. Like, just slow down, calm down, just look it all over. Just take your time. So rainy days, cloudy days are my favorite, all the way up till turkey season. Once it starts getting green and, they get covered up and fields are starting to get plowed and turkeys start gobbling. It's time to put on the camo and get after them turkeys.
Yes, sir.
I love it. So, man, I got one last question for you, and that is, what drives you outdoors?
Drives me outdoors. Look behind me.
Good answer. Great.
I mean, if that
the
don't,
white gold.
Yeah, if that don't drive an outdoor enthusiast to get outside and look for some antlers, you're talking, that's an 88-inch antler, it could be my retirement one day, but what drives me is I love it, man. Just you get good exercise. I try to stay lean, eat good, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated when I'm out walking. And there's nothing better than breathing God's clean air on the outside. It's like a spring day when you open up your windows and you want to get fresh air in the house. Just get outside, get some exercise, relax, enjoy it, wake up with the world.
I love it.
Yeah.
It don't get any cleaner than that. We'll honestly say it that way.
Right.
So real quick, Wayne, before we start cutting out, where can everyone find you and how can they get a hold of you if you want them to?
That's like one of the movies where it's confidential. They can't find me. because I stay hidden.
Smart. Smart.
I have a Facebook page. That's just, I don't do all the Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff. I'm too busy to get, that's enough social media in my life. But just look up Wayne Bolton, Shed Hunting Full on Facebook. And I've been doing a lot of shows. I've been with Blitz TV over the years and the Learning Curve. Right now, I'm just freelancing. I kind of opted out of those. I film every hunt. Been filming for the last 13 years. All my kills are on film. So right now I'm just kind of freelancing. You can Google my name. I've done some things for the, not the NWTF, but the DNR, Ohio Division of Wildlife, shed hunting video. Just type in Wayne Bolton shed hunting. You can see all kinds of stuff on there, or hunting, anything. Or look me up in here. Yeah, they'll find me through you guys.
Exactly.
That's right.
Outstanding. Well, everybody, do some looking up. Check out the Shed Hunting Fool. If I know if you're as excited as I am to get out this spring and pick up some bone, get some bone in hand, he's got plenty of information. So find out whatever you can. And if you guys have questions, reach out to us. Reach out any way you can, get what you can to get out and be more successful. Even if you don't, it's a good day outside. So with that, we want to thank you guys for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Anytime, brother.
Good luck.